Alright. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of iCast, your freaking awesome replays. Today, we are casting a challenge we put out to everybody where we said you are not allowed to expand until after the 5-minute mark. These games are the absolute highlight ones that have been grabbed from it. Down here in the bottom right, we do have Hyper1, the red Zerg player, who's opening up with a very early spawning pool. The opponent in the top left side also going for a high ground build. I was going to say high ground expand, but that's high ground gateway, which literally means you're not expanding. We've got Contra Baby in the left side. So this is going to be cool because not expanding till 5 minutes kind of forces you to mess with your opponent early on and try to mess the game and derail it as quickly as possible. As I said, this is one of the absolute best games from the challenge that got sent through to me by the lovely Eon Blue, who sorted these replays for me. And I can't wait to see what the hell these players do. Obviously, I don't know who sent the challenge in. Is it Contra? Is it Hyper1? Who's actually done that is something I'll have to discover by seeing who expands and who doesn't. Meanwhile, it looks like this is going to be 2-gate. 2-gate on the high ground, maybe. Probe is there. This probe is blocking the expansion right now. Hyper1 gonna be going for 6 very early Zerglings. Okie dokie. So Hyper1 even delaying the Queen here, which is, I think, a little questionable. It means you're trying to hit as hard and fast as possible, but there we go. The Queen does start up, so it's not going to be too delayed on that Queen and rallying Zerglings across the map. There's another little Wriggly boy there, another lava not being used just yet. So is Hyper1 continuing the aggression? Yes, they are. There should be another lava already out. There it is. Hyper1 is going to be going, non-stop Zerglings. This probe hasn't even scouted. Uh-oh, Contra. Contra is chronoing a Zealot and building a second Pilot. So actually, Contra's pretty well set up. As long as you keep the Zealot in the choke point, it can take on many Zerglings. That is a big if, though, as I don't think this is the highest level game. Both players coming in at sub 100 APM. And a Baneling nest going down. He's going all in. But wait, he's only got one worker on gas, so won't be able to make that many Banelings. Does need to get that Queen injecting. Hyper1, the classic build the Queen, forget to inject with it. The Zealot comes out of the wall. I told you guys, you just need to keep the Zealot in the wall, and I mean, we foreshadowed it, right? Zealot doesn't get a hold position order, and much like a bouncer who just wants to go out and fight teenagers, goes out, he's like, let's go, you little dickhead, doesn't realize the little dickhead does have 20 friends waiting for him in the alleyway. The 20 friends do manage to kill that bouncer, or I mean, no, maybe not kill, but you know, knock him unconscious and then pee on him or something. Something embarrassing. Either way, the probes are going to try and fight right now. They've actually cleaned up most of these Zerglings. This pylon will get back up. Hyper1 is morphing Banelings in front of the probe. What do you think? He doesn't know how to attack move? Contra Baby just A moves, kills the Banelings. Thankfully, you get a refund of 75% of that cost back, but still not really sure what Hyper1 was going for there. Has Hyper1 injected yet? Yes. So there should be more units coming. 3 Overlords building. Hyper1 never built an Overlord. Oh my god, so Hyper1 is now building 3 Overlords on one base, which means that Hyper1's reinforced here. It should be a flood of Lings right now with Ling speed, but never made Ling speed, just went slow Zergling Baneling, and it is an absolute trickle. That's all that's coming in. And unfortunately, the opponent's not unconscious. It's his bouncer buddy, and you can try to pee on him as much as you want. He will knock you unconscious, puts one of them in a headlock, starts ragdolling him. And yeah, I don't know about this build anymore, Hyper1. Another Zealot's about to pop out. There's a Stargate building in Oracle, and you're down 8 workers. It's a full mining base, so Contra has this one on lockdown at this point. Oracle is even going to come out and could do counter damage. There's only one Queen at home. If you don't have a second Queen or a Spore, the Oracle can just turn on its laser, kill the Queen, and then kill every single drone in that mineral line. But for now, the Zerglings are continuing. Hyper1, his little piddle of a reinforce, finally started to get some numbers across this map. Ling speed's all the way. 2 Banelings morphing. Once again, right in front of the Zealot. Wait. Did the Oracle? The Oracle's left. Come home. Dude, you can see he's morphing Banelings on your doorstep. Where's that? The Oracle's going to go for the counter damage. Absolute madman, Contra Baby. Banelings just blow up on the pylon and the Zealot. Probes are being pulled to try and fight here. Those probes need to A-move right now, otherwise the Zerglings will get in if they don't A-move. Okay, the probes do A-move. They are holding the choke point pretty well right now. Oh man, the Stalker helping out a fair bit. The Protoss player is coming in with the Oracle. Here we go! Oracle! All right, the Oracle. Oh, he's going after the drones, not the Queen. Okay, no, he'll fight the Queen. No, he hits the hatchery. Just A-move. Just A-move. It'll kill the Queen. Oh my god, he keeps changing targets. Oh my god, only 4 kills. Are you kidding me? You could have A-moved and it would have killed every single thing the Zerg had in the main. Oh, the classic trying to micro your units and actually handicapping them. We call that the Hitler. No, move your tanks here, it'll work better. They're like, you know literally nothing about military? And he's like, I was in a trench once a long time ago with a rifle. I wasn't very good at it, but I'm going to tell you guys how to run your army anyway. Let's attack everywhere all at once. I'm really smart, guys. Unfortunately, no offense, Contra Baby, we've all done that before. You probably just didn't realize that an Oracle beats a Queen because it's such a rare situation. Normally there's more Queens elsewhere. Yet again, Hyper One, what is this strategy? This is literally morphing Banelings like this is like walking into someone's house and be like, I'm here to kill you. And they're like, what? And you're like, oh, I forgot me knife. Can you just wait here? I'm gonna go grab my knife from out of the boot of the car. I'll be back in a few minutes. It's not a great way of attacking morphing Banelings in your opponent's base. The Ling Bane, once again, morphing a Baneling in the face of Contra, but Contra's cleaning it up. Contra hasn't cleaned up that Baneling, though. The Zergling's going to go into the mineral line. They are going to get one more probe. This may be the sloppiest Ling Bane rally all in that I've ever seen, but it is starting to do some damage. Contra really just needs to full wall this. Oh, the Baneling, Stalkers focus it. Oh, they click it, but then they pull back. No, click it. Oh, no. Contra Baby trying to stutter step, just needed to click on the Banelings and then could have A-moved everything. Oh no. Contra losing 24 probes. Did kill 4 drones on the other side, so let's be real, this is an 8 drone Zerg versus... When did this go up? When did this happen? There's a corner base in the corner of the map. Contra Baby is like, yeah, corner base, that'll do it. Still has not got a full wall off. I would just build a gate here and another gate there and make sure nothing can get in. But Contra's got a wall off up one more time and is chrono boosting probes. If Contra can get out a Void Ray, I mean, that's going to defend any follow-up Ling Bane attack. It's still 8 drones. Hyper One builds 2 more to go to 10 drones. Has a Spore up now, but almost no economy for the Zerg. Up against a 17-worker Protoss. I mean, the Protoss is just so far ahead economically. Protoss just needs to stabilize, chill, take a moment, and should be good. The Zerglings, though... Oh, Hyper One! Hyper One with some gamer instincts! Queuing Zerglings to check both corners of the map at once. Hyper One! Wow! Oh my god, finds the Nexus down there in the corner. Pulls back from the ramp, and yep, he's seen it. Hyper One's gonna go straight to that corner of the map. There's a Void Ray on the way, but it will not get to the corner in time. Oh no, that double economy that Contra Baby has. That's about to get smacked back down to level. It is, of course, past 5 minutes, guys, which is why Hyper One, who's clearly the one doing the challenge, I think we can see that at this point, was able to expand, but did it so late, because remember, the rule was only allowed to expand after 5 minutes. So had to really damage the opponent's economy. And you know what? It's going to kill all these probes, get this base down, bring it up to over 35 workers killed. And yet, despite that, this is an even game, even with this Nexus going down, because the Protoss has a Void Ray out, which is actually going to defend. Protoss can just chrono probes, rebuild a Nexus here on the natural, which the Void Ray can easily defend. And by the way, if this Void Ray actually finds that Overlord, these Overlords, that's almost game-ending damage. I know that sounds silly, a few Overlords, but when you're on like 19 workers, every Overlord you lose is a crucial hit to your economy. It really does hurt you a lot. So even one Void Ray is a conundrum. There's only one Queen out right now. This Void Ray... There is nothing to shoot it on this natural. A second Queen is about to pop out, but this Void Ray could take a lot of damage. I'm wiggling and jiggling in my chair. You guys can see me right now. I'm freaking out right now. I'm going like, I'm like, this game is freaking silly. Zergling's checking for another corner base. Protoss player does need to get an expand up behind this. You can see mining a lot of gas, not that much minerals. Void Ray gets the hatchery down to half life, but 2 Queens and a Spore will be able to defend that. And the Void Ray, best bet is to just pull back there. Doesn't lose any hit points, so that's good. You just want to pull that back, maybe queue it around the map to find Void Rays. No, he goes straight back in there. Contra Baby, what are you doing? You didn't fight when you had an Oracle one-on-one with a Queen. Now you fight with a Void Ray after losing all its damage? Damn, dude. Decision making, bro. 900 gas in the bank. Really needs to pull off gas and get a Nexus up. Oh, Contra Baby, you could get so far ahead, but Contra Baby wants to go 5 gateways on 1 base. A little questionable there. On the other hand, Hyper One is for some reason getting a lair right now. Is like, I need a lair on 22 workers. My main isn't even saturated, but let's do it. Both players are making decisions at this point, guys. And let's be real, we all make weird decisions when we are in high pressure and strange and unfamiliar scenarios. This one's just going to be an especially odd one. Finally, 9-minute expansion. And Hyper One definitely has that economic advantage now. So Hyper One, it looks like he's built a good lead. 27 workers versus 21 probes. But there's a lot of gateway infrastructure up. Don't underestimate that. It does mean, especially if Contra gets like charge or something, you've already got the production to make lots of zealots. You've got a massive gas bank. So actually, if you get Twilight... Yes, Twilight. Why did we cancel that? was going to go... Okay, Twilight and then Templar Archives. You can make Archons. You're going to have enough gas for like 3 Archons immediately, which against Zerglings is going to be huge. Hyper is going to 4 gases now, but you can see that main is a little undersaturated. And a Nidus Worm. We're gonna Nidus and cancels the 4th gas, makes a Roach Horn. Okay, so lots of decisions going on. Mass Queen's being built right now. Okay, so it's like a Queen, Roach Ravager, Ling, Nidus, Contra. Seems like more gateways going down, going up to 6 gateways, but not actually using the gateways that exist. It's a very Protoss thing, right? Don't just make a ton of gateways, don't actually use them constantly. Like you know, Protoss, not really the same as Terran, where the barracks just building. And hey, Templar Archives. All right, Contra's like very aware that there's 1,000 gas in the bank, and that's way too much right now. And can now transfer to the expansion. There's only down 6 workers here. This is not too bad. Remember, the main bases of both players are going to be getting very low. Those farm minerals will be mining out soonish, but because they've both lost so many workers, it's not as quick as it normally would be. Nidus Worm at the front pops up, but there's no real units here. This is a nonsense Nidus, guys. Sometimes people do this where they Nidus, but they don't actually have an army yet. There's like 30 Zerglings, 7 Queens. Hasn't used the Roach Horn yet, and the Lings are rallying across the map rather than into the Nidus Worm. There's a lot more Lings and Queens inside the Nidus right now. But Hyper One hasn't decided. Are we rallying to the Nidus? Okay, now Hyper One's rallying into the Nidus Worm. Is spreading creep out front of the base. A gateway wall goes up. Very cute. These guys need to make it to Archons, though. Morph Archons, Contra. Oh my god, Contra's waiting for the even number of High Templar before pressing Morph. Morph the Archons! Morph the Archons! What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my god, 2 Archons morph. And the 3rd one, morph those 2 as well. Oh my god, what are you doing? The Void Ray runs out and does mass Banelings. Archons do wreck Banelings though. Banelings. Oh my god, the Banelings do nothing. They kill 1 High Templar and they're gonna kill 1 Archon here. This other Archon doing well. It's such a shame that 3rd Archon didn't morph, but this Archon has 12 kills. Zerglings running into a choke point. Not a good idea there. Still 30 probes up. Contra does need to transfer half this mineral line down to the natural. Right now, Hyper One, who wasn't building during that and is actually injecting at home, so hats off for that, is trying to build roaches, roach speed, more Zerglings, and gather up at the front, is spreading creep here. Contra Baby doesn't really have any good army right now, but once these gateways get up, is going to be on 8 gateways, and with Charge and Archons, I mean, you could probably kill these Queens right now, but as the Ling Roach rallies out, that's going to turn in the favor of the Zerg, but then if you make another Archon or 2, it turns back in favor of the Protoss. This is still a really odd scenario. Whoever's more decisive here, I think, is going to win this game. I think, honestly, Protoss could A-move this right now, but if the Banelings come in, they might kill all the Zealots. Another Archon should be morphing. Contra Baby, there we go, a bit quicker on that morph this time. The Ravagers trying to drop Biles in front of the Zealots, not quite landing it. Oh no, the Banelings! The Zealots headbutt into the Banelings. They take pretty bad hits. The Queens, though, aren't transfusing. The Roaches and the Ravagers run away and abandon the Queens. And the Nidus, and then they pop back out. It was a misclick. Hyper One's getting in the Nidus, then getting out of the Nidus, then getting in the Nidus. How much panic control can you have in one fight? Now they're getting back in the Nidus again. Make up your mind, bro. And a random Roach waddles across the map. He's like, am I late? Where is everybody? I think my favorite thing about ICYFAR is we throw out these challenges and you can tell the players aren't really used to playing these styles. They're like, I gotta play more aggressive. Normally I just sit there and make 100 workers. But this night is, no, don't, why would you pop out there? Oh my god, oh my god. And, okay, so you gotta be really careful when you pop out of a Nidus. You don't want the rally point set far away like that, otherwise they're gonna try and touch that rally point before they start fighting. Does clean up some of these units. The Roach Queen coming out. It's all honestly just about getting enough Roaches to deal with the Zealot Archon, but the Zealot Archon's gonna come out. The Queens need to be spamming those transfusers down. A few of them do go down pretty well. Oh man. The Archons are taking damage to the Roaches, but the Queens are all gonna fall, and one Archon falls. Another Archon will fall, I think. Yes, it will. Looks like the Roaches just barely able to win this fight. Okay, that's a good one for the Zerg player. Both players are locked on 37 workers. How is this game dead even this deep into the game? This is amazing. I mean, I love that they're both just fighting this whole time. But definitely something where I think Hyper One needs to mass up more units. Putting another Nidus at the front. Hyper One is one speed, one mode, and that is YOLO right now. Definitely can Maynard some workers, take a third, maybe take a fourth. Really take advantage of this position to take a third or fourth base is where you could get way ahead. For some reason, there's a Void Ray building against the guy who's been massing Queen Ravager all game. Void Ray is probably the most useless unit against that. The Zealot Archon, it's really just about having enough Zealots and Archons. Contra, though, does keep warping in odd numbers of units. And we've seen how good these Zealots do if they can get on top of the Ravagers and Queens without those units being able to micro backwards. And, oh, here we go. Okay, good Ravager count. The Roaches at the front tanking really well. Those Biles, only one of them lands. Good dodge by Contra. The Archon starting to take out these Ravagers. And Hyper does focus down an Archon, which is kind of good in small scale fights, but you got to be careful doing that in bigger fights because you end up clumping your units. They all clump to run forwards and focus it. Another Nidus is popping out. We're popping into the Nidus. Now we're popping out of the Nidus. It's a trap, I guess. I don't know if this is on purpose or an accident. Genius or stupid. I just know it looks funny. But why are we running away? Weren't we winning that fight? I honestly don't know what is going on. Hyper One is like, let's go in the Nidus. Let's get out of the Nidus. In and out, in and out. Mate, I don't know if you're trying to get the Nidus worm pregnant or beat the Protoss player, but I feel like you could just come out of the Nidus and just finish the game. You don't need to necessarily... So no, it's all about the friction. I'm like, what? He's like, the friction. We got to go in and out more. I'm like, what are you even talking about, brother? I do not know. Contra Baby does finally defend the natural, pushes this all back. 1 Void Ray, 6 Zealots, 1 Stalker. Could put workers on gas on this natural. Rebuild that third base would be really nice. There we go. And they're both expanding at the same rate. A macro hatch goes down for Hyper One. Why not just take a fourth? Why? Has a third and a macro hatch up against the third base. They're still locked on almost identical workers. There is more army supply for the Zerg, but we've seen that it's not really performing as well as the Protoss army supply in terms of... It's the Archons specifically that have been winning the game. And now Contra Baby says, yep, they have. So I'm going to make unupgraded Stalkers and Zealots now. I mean, the Zealots have been okay, but you need the Archons in there. The Archons have been what's winning. Please don't make Stalkers. What a waste of gas, man. You got a Robo as well, actually. So we could be making, like, obviously an Observer's good, but get out some Immortals to deal with the Roaches. Very tanky unit. Double Evo and a Spire. Hyper One. It's a lot of tech to be going on just 40 workers and mass Ravagers as well, right? So much Ravagers. I guess this has been going for so long, so much gas banked up, but... Definitely a bit wild to be doing that. We got Lings going across, random Banelings going across. Burrow starts up, super random. Now, for those who don't know, 2 burrowed Banelings, perfect for killing Marines, right? Protoss doesn't have Marines. It takes like 4 Banelings, 5 to kill a Zealot. Without any upgrades, it's going to be 5. But, okay, Lings are running in on this base. They're going to find a probe or 2. Not bad, not bad. These Banelings look like they're just clicked into that base as well. Waddle, 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 waddle. Look at that. That is the most furious little crawly waddle you've ever seen. Let's go. Let's go do some boom booms. Oh, they do split up. They only get a single probe. Good job. Zealot does clean that up. These guys get cleaned up as well. The Spire will finish here. But Burrow, Banespeed, the Evo Chambers... You can't do everything at once. It seems like we're still massing Queens and Roaches and Ravagers. So Hyper One is on one track, one mode. I'm just making Queens and Roaches and Ravagers. I think the Queens served their function a long time ago. And while they still are very good for tanking, it gets awkward in big fights because I just find they get in the way of everything. They don't do that much damage. And when you're busy microing everything, it's hard to actually focus on them to spam the transfuse. If your opponent gets disruptors as well, they're so slow, they just cannot dodge disruptor balls very well. So I do find that awkward. On the other hand, Contra Baby's economy and production isn't really growing. Is on 8 gateways and is building 3 more gateways, but doesn't really have the money to spend that. Just kind of doing it because why not, I guess. That is a decision. It's supply blocked as well, but what is this? We're just going to spend all the money on the Ravager. So the Spire and the Evo Chambers have been forgotten about, guys. We're just going mass Ravager. Hyper One is like 20 Ravagers. Let's go. Ravagers can beat just about anything. They're a pretty sick army. Seeing Zealots there. Oh, but going to get cornered by the Archons potentially. The Archons do eat a few Biles. You got to be careful though. The Ravagers with Stutter Step are really good, but you need to fight this sort of army far off creep and then kite it backwards. So with it coming down here, Hyper One needs to quickly move to intercept. The Queens are coming down here, which is actually not helpful right now. The Queens will just get in the way. Queens are really bad in this scenario because like I said, your Ravagers need to shoot, pull back, drop Biles. It can work if you get the queens in front of the Ravagers, and then you just like A-move everything and just focus on transfusing basically once you drop your biles. But it's definitely a really awkward army. You see the way those queens are coming? Because they can just get in the way, and they make it way more complicated because then you're managing 2 spellcasters. And let's be real, guys, Zerg players only have 3 brain cells, and it takes more than 1 brain cell to actually manage a spellcaster group. So you just don't have enough brain cells to actually be able to micro 2 spellcasters once. I know this, I am a Zerg player, and speaking of no brain cells, what is that? Okay, this is literally a ninja dropping out into the bloody Shogun's war tent and just being like, I'm here for you. And he's like, oh no. And then he just starts sharpening his fucking little knife. You're like, what are you doing? Why? Why are you morphing banelings in the mineral lines? We just missed so many probes there as well. We're trying to burrow banelings here. Hyper 1 going for the meme players and now starts droning. Oh my god, this is turning into a real scary army, guys. Now, Contra did forget to make Psystorm. I think Contra thinks they have Psystorm, but it's a pretty scary Archon Zealot Immortal Ball nonetheless. Meanwhile, there is enough Ravagers to beat this, but it all comes down to the engagement. This army, you A-move it, fight good. Zerg army, not so much. Here we go. Here we go. Uh-oh. Let's see how this goes, guys. 4th base is up for the Zerg versus a 3-base Protoss. Hyper 1 is up by 4 workers right now. The Ravagers could be incredible against this army because the Zealots will run ahead of the army. So if you kite backwards, your Ravagers can kill all the Zealots before really even fighting the Immortals and the Archons. Walking through biles like that, very dangerous. When there is 18 Ravagers dropping biles, it's a non-stop hail of fire. And remember, it's only a 7-second cooldown on Corrosive Bile. 60 damage each one of those you land into. Even though the splash is very small, a very scary situation. Contra's got a 4th base as well. +1 attack's going to finish waiting for that +1 before going. Contra is still supply blocked. Uh-oh, big Zergling run by though. Uh-oh, big Zergling run by. But there's 2 cannons on the 3rd, so that won't do anything. 2 Immortals there as well. Doesn't look like Hyper 1's going to find anything with this Zergling run by. He's going to run in one more time. Maybe just focus down a few of those Zerglings. No, we're gonna. Why are we morphing Banelings in his base? What even is this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Why? Why do you think this is gonna work? I really hope this doesn't get rewarded. Got like 2 probes there. This is so dumb. Can you morph it on the high ground? You'll never notice it. It's so dumb. The Baneling's getting blocked at every turn. Oh my god. Oh my god. We've seen 15 Banelings die. It's a lot more than that because remember, this unit's lost tab doesn't actually show the ones that have blown themselves up in bad positions as well. It's only the ones that got shot down by enemy units. More Immortals building. The Immortal count's growing. So this Death Ball's getting really good, and the Ravagers, they really needed to force the offensive fight. Here we go. Oh, big Baneling run by. Okay. Uh-oh, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. They're trying to spread. Oh, that is nasty. Okay, yep. Ow. Ooh. Okay, Protoss feels like he's got to go now. He's like, okay, that was way too much damage, dude. I'm down to 23 workers. I got to go. Hyper 1 just needs to defend this push. Has more army value and has mass Ravagers. Yes, there's an upgrade advantage. Yes, the Protoss has better army value. But with the Spellcasters, the combo, it can be good. But the Queens are actually blocking these Ravagers right now. Okay, he's going to try and get the Queens to the front. But here we go. Biles do go down. You can see the panic in the control for Hyper 1. Where's the A move, bro? Oh my god, Hyper 1. Why are we move commanding? A move. Oh, no. You can see Hyper 1 is panicking right now. Oh my god, he shoots his own Ravager. He drops a massive biles, which is really good. But he's just clicked on an Archon. He's not A-moving. Hyper 1 in full panic. His units are milling about. They're not fighting. They're not transfusing. Hyper 1 is shitting the bed. Oh my god, what did he eat? Did he just eat 4 gallons of ice cream? I feel like there's just a hot liquid mess right now. Finally, he starts to actually fight. But look how quickly those Ravagers fall to the Archon Immortal. You can see when the biles land how effective they are, but he's already lost half his army. More Archons morphing in that backline. The Immortals coming forward. There is just too much Protoss now. Those Ravagers used up all this space so badly they needed to drop the biles, and I can't believe Contra. Remember that Contra has been under a Zerg onslaught from start to finish, but Contra has got him up against the wall. The Ravagers are going to run out of space, dodging the biles, moving in. Those Ravagers keep on moving way too close, trying to focus fire these units down. And anytime the Immortals and Archons get their hits off, it is deadly. Pulling drones into Archons, never something that works out too well either. This ball of Immortal Archon is going to be able to overwhelm. Remember, there's no bank for the Zerg. Both players were on such similar supply and workers all game long, but the Protoss player finally built up an Archon Immortal Death Ball. and the Ravages just weren't enough. I can't believe it. So that fight, the Queens literally blocked the Ravages from being able to do the micro they want to do. This is why Queens are so awkward on the defense. As tanky as they are, you need to make sure they aren't blocking your Ravages. So the way you want to fight it is you want to intercept that army all the way out here on creep. And you leave your Queens way back here. And you just shoot, pull back, shoot, pull back, shoot, pull back. And then when you're ready to fight, you put the Queens in front of the Ravages. And then you just A-move until all the Queens are dead. And you just transfuse and dropping biles fighting. And then you go back to like retreating and shooting and retreating. It's a really advanced composition if you let it get that big. I gotta say though, hats off to Hyper One for sending in a replay that you lost after just making so much chaos happen in this game. GG, well played, mate.